In the sleeping mode, what happened? We don't know, right? We don't know what's going on. Unless someone touches us, unless someone says something about our names, all right? When you close your eyes, you stay in the room. If we are so alert, we may recognize some external sound that's happening in front of our door. That's the most we can do. We can have. But otherwise, most of the time, when we close our eyes and put ourselves in the sleepy mode, most of the time we may not know much about the surrounding, right? Because of that kind of unrecognition. But for the Buddha, yes, sir.
When you meditate, do you have your eyes open or closed?
Depends. Sometimes open, sometimes closed. But for the experiments, the meditators, most of them, they close their eyes. But for beginners, when you close your eyes, you fall asleep. Right? But that's okay. Certain times, you get used to that. My point is that, again, the Buddha always alert, always awake. So he didn't go to sleep. He just rest. The reason why you see that he has busy schedule, the 4th noon session from 6 a.m. to noon. So he went in search for the physician in pure. Anyone that has an affinity with him. You know what's an affinity? Relationship in present life as well as in the past life. When we talk about the connection among us, we have some kind of, according to Buddhist views, we have some kind of connection since the past life up to now. The reason why sometimes we see, I think I told you guys this yet? Not yet? Sometimes when we saw someone else, at the first instant, what we call the first impression, right? We like that person on the spot, or we run away from that person on the spot. Because we have some kind of connection, whether it's favor or unfavor. Make sense? So for the Buddha, for the first, from 6 to 12 noon, so he went in search. Anyone that needs his help, whether impure, good or bad people, in the morning. So intermittently after lunch, so he takes a seat in the monastery. Of course, this is his general schedule. And the bhikkhu, that's mean the monks, bhikkhus, monks, and bhikkhunis, the nuns, they assemble together to listen to his lecture, his teaching. After the discourse, he retired, he rests for a while. And he uses divine eyes, the second eye, to see whoever needs his help, needs his advice, he would provide. And in the evening, it's common sense, right? Like people in the past, they work in the field, right? And in the evening, they came to hear the Dharma, to hear his teaching. So he preached for almost an hour, and he used some kind of illustration or parable, example. Plus, he uses scatter power to help his people, to help his followers. Now, the first watch, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. So he exclusively reserved for instruction to the bhikkhu, that's mean the monk. That he provides some techniques for them to do meditation. He gave some advice for their spiritual practice. And the middle watch is mean 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. And celestial beings, that's mean in Buddhist point of view. And they recall many times in the Buddhist teachings that celestial beings, that's mean gods, and God there came down to seek the teaching from him. And the last watch from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. So here he walked around as a mild form of exercise, sleep mindfully, actually, like I say, is just sleep at rest. 4 to 5 attend the food, and he stayed in that state of mind. And 5 to 6, he graduated his thought of loving kindness toward sentient beings, so that he could see whoever need his help. So that's the general schedule. But beside us, up to now, let me show you this. Up to now, the Theravada monks, they follow the Buddha old traditions. You see this here? This picture? So this is what we call Theravada monks, the one who follow the old style that the Buddha established in the early times. What we call, they follow the conservative way of life. So every day, sometime in 6 to 8, they go out to the street or to the village to beg for food. You see the bowl there? To beg for food. If you visit Thailand, Burma, Sri Lanka, Laos, have you been in the Far East? Not yet, right? And you see, even you can type on the YouTube, you see they go out to beg for food. That way how they get the food to sustain the body. Don't cook at the temple. Either they go out to beg for food, or the lay people come to the monastery to provide the food. That's the Buddha old lifestyle to obtain the food. And in return, after they obtain the food, they would give the teaching to the lay people. Like at the church, right? People provide financial support, right? The priest, the pastor, and so forth, they give the preaching, right? This is similar. It's two-way. The two-way support. So anyway, so that is the Buddha's schedule, and we talk about that more. And some of the monks, they practice what we call the ascetics practice. That's whenever they carry the ball, if they stick with that rules, they would go only 7 houses. They don't knock the door; they just stand there. And some of them they carry the staff, either the metal or the wood, so that would chase the dog away, or animal away. So they just most of the time they just stand in front of the house, and the lay people, whoever, they would come out to provide the food. Otherwise they would go to the next house. And for the 7th house, if they don't get the food, they may skip that day. But that's just only some small percentage of monks to practice. Most of the time they go out to beg for food until they get the food. But especially in these times, in the Theravada country, the Thailand, Burma, and Sri Lanka, so the lay people, they recognize the monks. So whenever they see the monk, especially in the morning, they would offer the food. And we see the video clips later on. Okay? Good. Okay. About number 2, Buddha's miracles. Anyone of you knows this? No? Okay.
Miracles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 2, you do it?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
please.
what I did. Yeah.
Yeah, please go ahead. What's it about?
Well, to start off, I mean, we kind of already discussed about his birth being miraculous. He was able to walk, he was able to talk a few minutes after his birth. But I also talked kind of about his divine eye, which allows him to have a higher degree of knowledge over things than other humans. He's able to look into the minds of his he was able to look into the minds of his former students, even when they were nowhere near him, and determine that they could benefit from his teachings. way he's able to see like where he needs to go, you know, where who would benefit most from his teachings. And then I also kind of looked around online and found some of the things he was able to do. He was able to kind of conquer this fierce serpent king just from his kindness and his lovingness. And I think what I thought was interesting was through deep meditation shortly after his enlightenment, 6 colors emitted from Buddha's pure body, which is blue, yellow, red, white, orange, and a mixture of these 5. And they actually became, I think, the Buddhist flag, those colors.
Yeah. So here you see the picture, is the image of the Buddha miracles. Yeah, he could fly up to the sky and did the step. According to traditions, they say that in one summer he went to one heaven to give teachings. His mothers, remember, his mother passed away 7 days after he was born. So he went to that heaven to give a teaching to his mother as well as the other Bodhisattva. So he went, after that 3 months, he went down, and many heaven celestial kings escort him to go down. This is the legend, but yes.
Okay, maybe this is a weird question, but when you mean heaven, I thought that, you know, Buddhists believe in reincarnation. Did she reach nirvana? Is that what you're referring to, like his mother?
No.
Like, I don't understand what you mean.
Okay, let me clarify before we move on. That's good, yeah. That's a good question. Okay, now here. How many of you go to the church every Sunday or once in a while? Okay, so most of you are more familiar with the Christian idea of God, heaven, right? So here in this class, you may need to shift your paradigms in different gear. Okay. The reason why I say that is that in Christian idea, right? You have only one heaven and one God, right? But in Buddhism, no. You have plural of God. Many gods. Many levels of heavens, not one heaven. There's no supreme God in Buddhism point of view. Makes sense? And we talk about that time and times. Because according to Buddhist view, we have what we call 6 realms. Yes, sir?
Real quick question.
Yes.
Does each, like, how you said there's levels of heavens and there's many gods, does each god inhabit its own individual heaven, or?
Yes.
Okay.
This according to Buddhist views. There's numerous levels of heavens, and then numerous realms of heavens too. But Buddhism clarified in three main realms. The desire realm, okay, formless realm, and formless realm. And in the desire realm, it's covered gods, a celestial realm, human, animal, ghost, a semi-god, and hell. So what we call here, I think next week, right, we will talk about that 6 realms of rebirth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a cycle. Can you see my writing? Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so God or celestial realms is one of the choice, or one of the places that we may take rebirth, according to Buddhist point of view. That means after we pass away, we may be reborn as human again. If we get more blessing, we may ascend to the heavens. And may remember plural heavens, many heavens. Or if we attach to our pet, we may go with them. Make sense? Or we may stay in the form of wolves. Right? Or we have what we call so many God, that means fighting God. Or we may go to the hell if we create, but I mean that what do you call the heaviest karma in Buddhist view. If someone killed their parents, that's one of the heaviest karma that may lead them to the hell, because the parents are the ones who provide everything for us to survive. So we should go on until we mature. Okay.
So
Yes.
they stay in that cycle?
Yeah, most of the time, the cycle. So again, the gods are celestial beings in the desire realms. They have less power than the God in the form realms. The form here, that means their form is so subtle that we could not see. I'm not talking about the formless realm. They can live up to trillion years. Not 100 years, but trillion years. We talk about that next time. So this is the way you need to shift your gear of your paradigms. Makes sense now, right? So the reason why in Buddhist views there is no supreme God. It's like in our human society, we have some billionaires. Yes.
So if you're all the way at the bottom, are you stuck there in hell, or
You have everything is impermanent. Whether you go up there or you go down there, you still have the chance to go up again. Okay? You may have the chance to fall down again. This is not normal. It's like in our life, right? Sometimes we're wealthy, sometimes we're poor. Sometimes we're famous. Sometimes people don't pay attention about us. You see that? So life is so it's so changeable. Nothing's impermanent. Even you go down to the hell there for millions or trillion years, you still have the chance to go up. Even you live up here for trillion years, you still may go down here, depending upon your karma. Right? In the course of our life, right? Sometimes if we use up all of our saving account, we work again. Right? If we save enough to buy house, buy car, and so forth. If we obtain loan too much, sometimes we need to think about filing bankruptcy, right? Anyway, yeah.
And so, if you're a god in the desire realm, can you become a god in the form realm?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
This is so
it's
flexible.
higher and higher.
You like in life, it's so flexible. Remember? Look at Bill Gates. Look, what is his name? The one who made Facebook. What is his name? They're still young, and they're so famous, right? You see, life is so flexible. This is no fixed rule. You have to be this, you have to be that. It's not your fate, it's your karma. The karma that you create by yourself. This is according to Buddhist view. No one dictates your life except yourself. You are the creator of your life. If you want to go up, create more blessing, helping other people. If you create bad karma, you'll be locked up in the jail. At this present life, and you have, according to Buddhist view, you may have to pay again in the next life, depending on your karma too. So it's so flexible, and that's the different paradigms from Buddhism views. Is it clear? We talk about this more. Thanks for clarifying these things. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the reason why here, when you talk about early in the morning, the celestial realms, the celestial beings, in the desire realm, form realm, they come down to seek for the Buddha teaching. Some of them, they were Buddhists before, when they were in human realm. Then when they were human, when they were people, they were Buddhists. And after they passed away because of their blessing, they went up there. And because they so familiar with the Buddha teaching, they come down to seek Buddha teaching. It's normal. And anyway, we will talk about that more next time. Okay? So again, this is a lot of Buddhist miracles, and not only Buddha, whoever achieved what they call arhatship, or the holy monk, what they call arhat, they could perform this kind of miracles. They have second eyes, second power too. And everyone has that power, has that skill, but we don't know how to use. Yes, sir.
What did you say Arhat was?
A holy monk, the one who doesn't have any attachment or anger at all. Yes?
So did he not escape the cycle?
Yeah, they do. In plural, Arhat. Most of all the Buddha, most of the Buddha disciples have achieved that called what they call arhat state, arhatship. Just mean they no longer be reborn in the sixth realm of rebirth. We talk about that. Don't worry, yeah, we'll talk about it. Okay, let's just move on. Otherwise, we don't have time. Okay, let's see here. Okay, now here, two primary disciples. Or Lori? Oh, you are Lori?
Autumn.
Autumn, please. Yeah, what do you have?
I found the Buddha's two chief disciples.
Yes.
They were named Moggallana
Yes.
and Sariputta.
Yes.
And as boys, they attended a play at a festival, and that's how they learned the impertinence of life. And that's when they started their path. But as they grew older, their first teacher name was Sanjaya, but they soon followed their own paths, and they told each other that who would first obtain enlightenment would go back and tell the other. And I think it was Sariputta first that learned of Buddha and went to go find the other, and then they also convinced Sanjaya's followers to follow them towards the Buddha as well, and then the Buddha realized their leadership skills and made them the two chief disciples, and that's basically what I got.
Okay, good. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, actually, again, past, present, and future. Now, these are the times, right? We talk about the times. If we scroll down, we may talk about the split second. Is that right? The moment that I'm talking, that's the present. Or the moment that I'm going to talk, that's the future. And after I'm done, that's the past. Make sense? And if I extend the time out we have today, yesterday, tomorrow, and more last year, this year, and next year, and more last decade, this decade, and next decade, and so forth. And in Buddhist views, the past connected with the present connected with the future. We cannot disconnect ourselves with the past. Make sense? Whichever thing we done in the past will affect to this present life. And so will the future. Is that right? Right? Okay. So that is why Buddhists believe in vertical reincarnation. Whoever met the Buddha, whether they are two chief disciples or whoever follow him during his times, they have affinity, they have some kind of connection with him since very past life. That is why when they came to see him, to learn, it's so easy for them to understand. Make sense? Yes?
What was the name of that?
Oh, this one here.
No, I mean the unit, something whatever, the past, present, and future all together is one. What is that called?
No, not once. I'm talking about they connect with each other.
Okay, yes. So
Yeah.
what is that called?
No, that's it. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
That's just, the time is linear, right? The past connect with present, present connect with future. Okay? The thing I want to explain is that in Buddhist point of view, we believe in that kind of reincarnation, right? That kind of connection. Like sometimes, So sometimes if you have affinity, a connection with someone else, when they talk, or even they don't talk much, you understand what they want to say. Is that right? But sometimes even someone try to explain the views, but if you don't know much about that person, you may not understand what they're talking about. Does that make sense? Right? So that's why for these two chief disciples, when they were slave men, and they heard the name of the Buddha, so when they went there, they saw Buddha like they saw Buddha again, and so they follow his teachings and guidance, and eventually they achieved to what they call arhatship, and they became the two main disciples. And they have all kind of psychic power, like the Buddha too, especially this monk, Mongaliana. He could fly everywhere to the universe without NASA spaceship. This is another story. One day, he wanted to test the sound of Buddha. So he fly far away from the earth and so forth. But he still listen, he still hear the sound of Buddha until he got to the other Buddha land. And he walked on the top of the Buddha balls because his body, according to them, it's too small. And they say, oh, I mean that the Buddha different Buddha land. They say that, oh Buddha, there's some animal, some weird animal is walking on your ball. And that Buddha say, no, this is Mongolian, the one who is chief disciple of Shakyamuni Buddha, who has second power. That's why he could come here. And he told us this month, how about you show off your second power to have the body like us. So he manifests his body like other monks in that realm. You understand what I'm talking about?
I remember one time I had a dream like that.
Yeah?
I remember one time I had a dream
What
like
happened?
that. I seen some little bitty people like that. And but it seemed like I was awake though. I was like, man, am I going crazy or what?
No, now NASA, like they see that 1,000 Earth-like planets, right? And there's some what they call UFO or some alliance that we may not know of yet. They may be bigger than us or smaller than us, right? I forgot what the story of the man. I forgot this long time. It's a man who went to adventure. He was hired by little people. What is his name?
Gulliver's Travels.
Yes. You see that? Yeah, that's no novice, right? No, that's a fiction, but we don't know, right? We may find the people, some people like us, maybe bigger or smaller, we don't know, right? Out there, and I think NASA and other people can find in our lifetime. Right? Okay, let's move on. So there's a lot of information about the two chiefs, but it's just brief introduction about them. Okay, the next one, let me see here, the Hon. Okay, Red Monastery's disciple. Do you have here? Yeah, please. What do you have?
Well, like I said, there were many of them, so I just kind of concentrated on Upali.
Yes, what happened? What about him?
Well, what impressed me about him was the fact that he was from the Sudra caste, which was a lower caste. And I like the fact that he was able to attain such greatness in his life, given his caste in society. They weren't allowed to be educated, so he chose a trade of being a barber. So he got to cut the great prince's hair as well as Buddha's. And when he went to cut Buddha's hair, his mother asked how he did. And one time he said he bowed too low, another time he said he bowed too high, another time he breathed in too quickly, another time he breathed out too quickly. And this formed the first 4 stages of meditation. and he wasn't looked upon very kindly by some of the other followers of Buddha because he was so strict in the precepts. They were kind of jealous, and Buddha called them together and kind of admonished them, saying, you know, you should seek to attain his type of perfection in the precepts. And again, I just really like the fact that he was able to kind of rise above his caste, so to speak, within the religious world, and kind of break free of the chains. So.
Yeah, again, remember in the first class we talked about Hinduism. They divide the society up to now. Go together to listen to his lecture, his teaching. After the discourse, he retired. He rested for a while, and he used his divine eyes, the second eye, to see whoever needs his help, needs his advice, he would provide. And in the evening, it's common sense, right? Like people in the past, they work in the field, right? And in the evening, they came to hear Dharma, hear his teaching. So he preached for almost an hour, and that has an affinity with him. You know what's an affinity? Relationship in present life as well as in the past life. When we talk about the connection among us, we have some kind of, according to Buddhist views, we have some kind of connection since the past life up to now. The reason why sometimes we see, I think I told you that yet, not yet. Sometimes when we saw someone else, at the first instant, what we call the first impression, right? We like that person on the spot, or we run away from that person on the spot, because we have some kind of connection, whether it's favor or unfavor. Make sense? So for the Buddha, for the first, from 6 to 12 noon, so he went in church. Anyone that needs his help, whether pure, impure, good or bad people, in the morning. So intermittently after lunch, so he takes a seat in the monastery. Of course, this is his general schedule. And the bhikkhu, that's mean the monks, bhikkhus, monks, and bhikkhunis, the nuns, they assemble in the sleeping mode. What happened? We don't know, right? We don't know what's going on. Unless someone touches us, unless someone says something about our names, all right? When you close your eyes, you stay in the room. If we saw a lot, we may recognize some external sound that's happening in front of our door. That's the most we can do. We can have. But otherwise, most of the time, when we close our eyes and put ourselves in the sleepy mode, most of the time we may not know much about the surrounding, right? Because of that kind of unrecognition. But for the Buddha, yes, sir.
When you meditate, do you have your eyes open or closed?
Depends. Sometimes open, sometimes closed. Most for the experiments, the meditators, most of them they close their eyes. But for beginners, when you close your eyes, you fall asleep. Right? But that's okay. Certain times you get used to that. My point is that again, the Buddha always alert, always awake. So he didn't go to sleep. He can rest. The reason why you see that he has busy schedule, the 4th noon session from 6 a.m. to noon. So he went out, he went in search for the physician impure. Anyone